Hey, my name's shawnshawn. I sell art on shawnshawn.co. Today we're going to react to Squidmar miniatures. So Squidmar miniatures is a miniature figurine painter, kind of like D&D stuff. So let's check out his channel. So he has kind of an intro video of one of his latest videos. His first layer is uploads, which is strong. He has friends on the tube, so he doesn't have many playlists. He should probably organize like 3 or 4 playlists. You can do that off the front page. He's simplified it just to, his friends and like his top uploads. So he could have more on the channel, but he has 333,000 subscribers. So he's probably good. But I think you could organize the homepage a little better than this. Go to the first video. So the first video is, I paid artists on Fiverr to paint my Warhammer. Here's what happened.
I asked artists on Fiverr to paint my Warhammer figures in one of the most difficult color schemes there is. Oh my god. This can't be a 40 bucks paint job.
So I like that intro. He has kind of like, what's the video going to be about? And then he has kind of a generic kind of throw in every video kind of thing, which is introduce his brand. And now he's going to talk about it. So let's see where it goes. He's got some of his social media mentioned there.
Watching Squidmar Miniatures, I'm Emil, and today I've got a fun project. We've seen people do this before. We've seen Rumi do it with musicians. We've seen Davey504 do it with bass players, and we've seen PewDiePie do it with mixed success. My idea with this one is to ask painters on Fiverr if they can paint my Warhammer figures. But let's not make it easy for them. Or one of my favorite painters is Antonio Peña. And last year for Golden Demon, Antonio Peña painted an Imperial Fist warband for Kill.
Alright, so skip ahead a little bit.
I'll pay for the shipping. So this guy knows how to do business. So 25 bucks is the final price with shipping from the US. So done for, he seems down. That's awesome. So done for, he's the goblin guy with the grot riding the squig. 35 bucks with shipping. I think this is incredibly fair. He didn't boost the price up to 120 pounds or...
That's crazy. He wants $35. It's going to take him 28 days to paint it. That's like the worst commission rates ever, but it's like a little tiny figurine. I mean, what are you going to charge for that, right?
Whatever. I think we'll accept this one.
All right, so let's go to a little further ahead.
To my request. I will also leave a link to his YouTube channel, which you can go check out, where he does like a lot of...
Check out.
So, we got all the packages.
I will say it's a really cool way to set it up. You're like straight on the camera, and behind you have kind of your whole paint set up, some figurines. You have some posters of kind of the artwork you kind of paint, like these game figurines or whatever. He has his second camera here, so he must... I don't know why he put the camera in the video shot, because he already has a camera he's shooting from. But maybe he wants to show that I'm a vlogger. I don't know. Like, it's already on video. You don't have to prove you're on video with another camera, but maybe he's just proving he's got some money.
Finally, some of them took a lot of time. I'm not gonna name any names.
All right, let's go ahead.
It was because of shipping and because of the mod costs. Be kind. This is just a fun social experiment. Don't be mean. Victor Rodriguez. Okay, this is, let's see. Sanji Design. So, Victor Rodriguez. This is the Stormcast Ballista guy. Moment of truth. Don't let me down, Victor. He lost his arm. Okay, so this one has broken down in transport. Let's see if we can glue it back on. First impression here. He actually tried the non-metallic metal on this one. The sword in the back looks really good. It's got like a nice blue color. Did some nice edge highlighting. And considering how much he charged, and not just edge highlighting, but actually highlighting with like the lights. The color is a bit more matte than Antonio Peña's, which is totally fine. I think this one is really good. This is impressive, Victor. But yeah, a bit more orange and a little bit more poppy yellows would have been nice. All in all, I think this is a win. Good one.
So yeah, it's one of the most fatal things you do when you send artwork is make sure you pack it right so it doesn't break in shipping. That can be a disaster. Obviously, he just fixed it on the spot, but if it was a real client that was buying it, they would be pissed, man. They probably want a refund. You wasted like 20 hours or whatever you spent painting that, or 5 hours, who knows. But yeah, that's the worst thing you can do as a painter, is send broken stuff. But you know, sometimes it's out of your hand. Maybe they mistreat it, but generally you can pack it pretty well, so that doesn't happen.
This package is from the UK, so this is the Mr. Goblin guy done for. Let's see what he's done. This guy was actually really fast with shipping. So this one and the first one I opened, super fast shipping. I hope you didn't wipe your ass with this. Wow, okay, this one is different. So we have a couple of different things.
So I like this zoom shot. It gets a really, really close shot, which you need for miniatures to even see what's going on. So that's probably like a prime lens, maybe, who knows. Yeah, let's just see what it's gonna say.
The colors here are not quite what I asked for. It's kind of like a flat yellow. On the wings and the skull and the chest, he painted red instead of the silver that's on the reference. With his weapon, he went with a true metallic metal, which I think is fine because of the time he spent on it. The price was really low. And also we have some minor things like dents here, and the yellow is a bit blotchy, if you will. It also has like a texture, so I think that he kind of sprayed it with too much primer, blocked out the colors decently. I think that's good. He didn't spend as much time to kind of...
So it's kind of fun. He's critiquing this. Let's skip ahead.
Are very warm yellow. They're like very poppy, fiery yellow. And this one is more matte yellow, kind of like the second one we got. I wonder if they use the same colors. The good thing with the brush liquor one is that his black lining is very good and his blocking of colors is very good. It's a very clean paint job. So once again, I think in terms of what I
like this, it's more subtler. The one just before this was like really crazy outline, like terrible. I mean, he looked very new out of the box, so you don't want it new. You want it kind of aged a little bit. This one has all kind of hair stuck in the paint, which to me doesn't look professional, but whatever.
With this one, I got a very good value.
So let's skip to the next video here. This video is called "This is the World's Biggest Warhammer Model." So let's see what this is about.
Okay, so 4 weeks back, I said this in a video. If this video gets 20,000 likes, I'll order the Manta, build it up. And with that, you guys did this.
So you can see this is a little bit earlier style vlog, maybe a year or two back, and he doesn't have like the vlogging setup and everything. He just has his laptop, which is fine. But you can definitely tell the sound is pretty good, even though it's a lot lower key setup, but it's, you know, you can definitely tell it's an earlier video.
Mission complete.
Does this mean I have to order 2 now? You guys are a bunch of sadistic people. And with that, we're gonna briefly go through the history of the Manta and order the biggest Warhammer model you can buy.
And he also has like a remote mic, which is really smart there. He's got his intro again.
This video is made possible thanks to Focus Home Interactive and their new game, Necromunda Hired Gun.
Okay, whatever, man.
Hey, you're watching Squidmar Miniatures and I am the subscribe button. Please click it if you haven't already. The Manta, or more formally as it's known, the Manta Missile Destroyer, is the biggest Tau model you can order. Maybe even the biggest model in the world.
So maybe it's in Denmark with Kroner.
Stompas or the Forge World Titan, but it's even bigger. A massive spaceship weighing in at 12.5 kilos or 28 freaking pounds. Making the miniature 60% heavier than the Warlord Titan that Guy from Midwinter Minis ordered. So who's painting the biggest Warhammer model now, Guy, huh?
So this is smart. He's actually kind of competing against another channel that does miniature painting. So he's kind of, I got the biggest model, you got the biggest model. It's kind of like this silly game, but it's very effective at drawing the audience base. So let's skip ahead a little bit.
It's actually 6 times larger than the current Thunderhawk that's available. The Manta is designed to have a fully working interior as well, and it has 2 decks. In the upper deck you find 48 seated resin fire warriors and 6 gun drones, and they're overseen by a seated Tau Ethereal. They exit through doors that retract into the walls and then down to the landing zone via a hidden extendable ramp. On the lower deck, however, you have 8 Tau battlesuits, 2 Devilfish troop carriers, and 2 Tau hammerheads. I mean, it's like a whole army inside of a single model. And everything is included in the $1,700 purchase price.
Jesus Christ. $1,700? What the hell, dude?
$1,700. Why on earth did I agree to do this? Well, a promise is a promise.
So this is what happens. You got a big YouTube channel. You can buy some crazy, you can buy huge paintings or something and paint really large, or in this case, buy really expensive models and paint. So this is a really smart idea as far as from a branding standpoint, because any beginner model painter is not going to be able to get this monster one until they become popular. So it kind of sets you apart from the competition. The most successful version of this has been Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast literally take all his money that he would make off YouTube and put it back in his videos and give away free money and cars and all kind of crazy, like, just this massive amount of giveaway, which wasn't even seem possible, right? It's better than the sweepstakes lottery at this point, so it's pretty interesting, the Mr. Beast model of giving away all your profits and just making crazy money with it. So let's skip ahead a little bit.
So, where does the miniature come from, and what does the lore say about the Tau Manta? According to Warhammer 40k Wiki, the Manta missile destroyer is one of the largest aircrafts that can be fielded within a planet's atmosphere in a frontline role, and it is the largest dropship of its kind. During the Taurus campaign, the Mantas were mainly used to transport hunter-cadres.
So this is a great idea. He's kind of building the backstory. First he sells it as this huge giant model compared to other models, and then he's showing the whole story, the backstory connected to the comics and why you want to care. So let's keep going.
Seriously though, a Wraith Knight is like tiny compared to the Tau. We have Nagash, we have a War Mammoth, Gordrak, a Mumak, and they're not even covering half of it. So this is gonna be an amazing video series. Give us a few months, but I promise something epic. Anyway, let's sit down and finally order this bad boy. Let's go to forgeworld.com.
All right, let's skip that part. He's going to buy it. So a lot of build up going into the suspense of getting this huge model. Let's see, does it ever show up? Maybe just... So this is really clever. He's adding like flash dance. He's kind of done a retake with his friends. He had a video in the middle of this. It's pretty funny. But a great way to kind of boost up the popularity. I can see why this is popular. So skip ahead a little bit.
It's been ordered! Whoa! That was fast. My god, 2 of these huge boxes. By the way, I just got to think about one thing.
Maybe about 2 instead of 1.
Wasn't there like 67 models included in the pack, plus the Tau Manta? Does this mean that I have 1 more model in my backlog? Or 68?
That still only counts as 1!
Great plug for Lord of the Rings. So he just ordered it. I thought he was going to paint this, so I was kind of like, where the hell is he going to ever paint this model? So the great suspense build up, and then you're like, where the hell's the rest of this model? So he's going to piece it out probably. You're going to have multiple videos off of it. So this is just the ordering of one model. It's like, oh my god, it's not even a painting video. And it has like 203,000 views, but you know, he's built up all that huge story going into it. This next one is called Building the World's Most Difficult Warhammer Model. Right,
this is the 97 Thunderhawk. The world's most expensive Warhammer model. Not just that, it's also probably the most difficult one to build. Made entirely out of metal. Originally, it wasn't even meant to be sold. Known to cave to its own weight with 0 connection points or pins to connect the different parts. This week, we're gonna attempt to finish the whole miniature. Is it actually doable?
So it's kind of cool. I didn't even know models were metal. I've seen railroad models my dad works on, and they have metal castings in them. But I know these little metal models are actually just solid metal. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Metal. So every single part is really heavy.
So this is a really cool thing. He's getting, first he covered kind of the general layout and the first centers. Now he's kind of zooming in. You get to see all the parts at really close range, which is really cool.
There's no way super glue would be strong enough to hold the parts together. And when a miniature has large part cast from metal, they tend to be warped quite a bit. And unfortunately, so is many of these pieces. Well, let me change that. And so is most of these pieces.
So you paid a lot of money and it's all warped pieces? Man, I'd be pissed. I'd be sending this shit back.
So we're gonna need hammering, we're gonna need pliers, and we're gonna
What?
need to...
That's ridiculous. You buy something that's already kind of broken because it comes in all different crazy shapes. But maybe that's just the nature of it.
I think we'd encountered with metal minis is that some of the parts have shrinked or expanded in the casting process. This is quite common with resin, but I haven't seen that with metallics before. but there are so many parts that needs to be sanded a lot because it just will not fit with the other part. We'll follow the instruction handed by Games Workshop almost to the T.
I mean, it's kind of cool that you have to sand this down and everything. It gives it a lot more personal touch. Anything you have to work on a lot, like say an IKEA dresser, you hate it while you're doing it, but then it's kind of becomes like one of those loved pieces because you had to actually work on it and build it yourself. Although I still think IKEA furniture is junk, right? Just build it and throw it out. I mean, that's what I learned in Germany. I just saw them throw it out after a year. You're like, what are you doing? That's why Americans say it's junky. Yeah, it's supposed to like last 5 years. It's supposed to rotate the furniture every 2 years. But again, a nice zoom shot with all the details. Let's skim ahead a little bit.
The further we get along the project, honestly, the more it just feels like life is difficult. Despite us using two-part epoxy and pinning stuff together, it's already starting to cave to its own weight. And there's only 1/4 of the total weight on the model so far. We're having so much fun right now, because I was gonna glue something and pin it. I had already pinned this, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't strong enough. Broke. Yay.
I gotta say, this is just a piece of junk. How can you put out something that doesn't even fit together? Like, it doesn't have pins and stuff to put together. It's like, man. I mean, I guess maybe they just don't, the model builders of this kind of stuff don't care, or they just, it's expected, but man, if you do like a painting with a canvas and the structure bars don't fit together, you're taking it back straight to the damn place. Like, if you build it yourself out of scrap wood like I have, that's one thing, you know, it's just like, it's on you if you fits together or not. But if you're buying it from a kit and it's supposed to be professionally made, man, this is just, I mean, it looks cool, but then it's like none of the parts fit together. You have to get your own special glue. You don't have like, it doesn't fit together naturally without putting glue all over it, and then hopefully, it's like, oh, dude, that's insane.
We found that some of the bits would be covered by acrylas, so we decided to add some bearing parts into the middle of the miniature and pin through the walls. Some of these parts we'll have to cover with milliput, but we're gonna need it if the miniature is gonna stay together. This is not the easiest thing I've ever built. I've already broken 3 of these drill bits, and that was the last one in the right size. So I guess I have to go pick up more.
So ridiculous. Go ahead a little bit.
Day 4 of building, it might look like we've got nothing done yesterday. And that's kind of the truth, but let's do some sanding. And while we watch this pretty montage, let's take a second to thank all of my awesome patrons who make sure that my salary is paid every month. Special thanks to all of my top patrons, you guys are amazing. It does look like we have a lot left to do, and we kind of do. But I have high hopes as we've done a lot of sub-assembly, so a lot of it is just putting stuff together. The back with the wings, however, that's gonna take a lot of time, so fingers crossed we're gonna make it for today. While I'm finishing off the main body, Victor is doing the back, and Lucas is doing all of the engine parts. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if the engine fits, because we got all the engine parts built. This is the back before we can add the final top stuff. The wings, let's see if the engine fits. If not, we're gonna have to sand more. No. Why you no work?
That's so crazy. You have to sand this more. Like, it's such a piece of junk. I mean, it's so cool looking, and then it's like you have to sand it all the time. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit.
I sold 22 Tau models, 10 Dryads, and my dear friend Albin got to buy 13 of my old hammer stuff in blisters. The epoxy glue that we had been using did not work as intended. And then disaster struck. Not once, but 3 times. The miniature was falling apart and I needed to pin it more. But I just broke the last drill again.
Oh my god, this is so insane.
These tiny drills on my electric drill, and this gave some stability that I didn't know we needed. Glue drying montage! This had to be the most difficult miniature to build. I don't know what else it could be. Maybe the Manta? I don't know. If this video gets 20,000 likes, I'll order the Manta, build it up. So, time's up.
So that's a really clever idea, is you kind of say, you put a contest inside your own video and say, oh, if you get so many likes, I'm going to do this extra crazy freaking model, which he does in a later video, which I covered. So that's a really smart way to build up your branding. You probably only do that once you get like several thousand likes and you say, hey, if I get an extra 100 likes, I'll do this crazy other task. And then people are like, right? And so you just drive your likes and get more engagement and you rise up the ranks of YouTube. So it's pretty smart. That probably pays for itself, literally. Let's go to the end here.
Now we're just gonna do the final bits.
It is pretty cool. He has all this smoke going in here. He probably got some dry ice to do that. Very nice effects.
Another 2-3 days of milliputting and sanding and fixing up, so it's gonna look great when we paint it. Don't forget to subscribe.
Is he not gonna? Oh my gosh, he doesn't even paint it in this one. This is the second video I covered no painting. Like, what the fuck? So it's a pretty interesting channel. It's about miniature painting. The last 2 videos had no painting in them. Just building, but it's a miniature painting, a miniature model building. So half of the process is building the model, gluing, sanding, and then you add the paint. So if there's no painting, I guess that makes sense. It's kind of an interesting channel, the way he's put together, made it really playful and fun. And that one video where he kind of lays out the story and just kind of builds excitement. At the end, you're like, where's the painting, man? But it kind of builds up to that. So that's a really cool effect of having that long going story throughout the creation of the model. So that's a really smart way to work, I think. And it's pretty interesting. You can see where modeling has gone, because my dad was in railroad modeling and now that's kind of going completely by the wayside. No one's really picking it up in the next generation, which is my generation, Generation X. The boomers are really into that. Generation X isn't picking it up. The next generation isn't picking it up. What they are doing is they're doing kind of this D&D stuff. So that's probably where it's going to go. Figurines and spaceships and battlecraft, which makes sense. There's just newer stuff, sci-fi stuff. I think it's cooler too than railroads. I mean, railroads is cool, but it's just kind of passe. It's been done before, but this is all brand new stuff. So obviously you get into the newer things as a next generation. You don't always want to do what grandpa's doing, right? So that makes sense, I think, from that standpoint. It's a shame for the model railroader, because that's kind of go by the wayside, but this is going to replace it. So, I mean, those model shops will be fine as long as they have guys like this building it. But you can't order a lot of this